Niklas Hemlin, good evening, good morning, whatever. I don't know where you are, but no, I do
I'm
know.
back home in Arizona, and it's in the afternoon.
Yeah,
So I
back from
finally
China.
slept like my jet lag is still pretty severe traveling from Macau. So I sleep like from 8 to midnight, then up an hour or so, and then back to sleep. So yet last night I accumulated between the two maybe 7 hours. So, but yeah, it was easier going there actually to adjust with the jet lag, but coming home is difficult. So yeah.
Well, you made it. So welcome
Yeah.
back. Um, and we did about like what was it like 2 weeks ago, maybe even less. We did the preview of the Indoor World Cup. So now let's do the review of the Indoor World Cup. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were there live. You did a little bit
Yeah.
recording even there on live streaming.
Yeah.
Um, which I don't know how many people were attending this to hear, but here I do know that I have like 5,000 people or so, watching, listening what you have to say. So let's try to satisfy or please the people who are attending this and want the information that you're bringing back. Um, well, I don't know where to start. I mean, Arizona Airspeed was as boring as usual. There's no opposition. So what was catching? Congratulations.
Well,
Oh,
I think Arizona Airspeed had a good meet. I think the French team, we call them the French kids, they really got us, focused and seeing their performance on win games, which we talked about. They're definitely, when they're all together, I know Tom is hurt. I heard some rumors. I don't want to speak for them, but he's going to come back in maybe June. I heard he's
good.
really going to. I heard rumors talking to them that he really wants to recover from this injury and then start jumping in June. That's what I heard, but that's for them to talk about that. So they had Pamela, and they had a strong performance with Pamela, taking second.
Amazing.
Airspeed. We showed up a whole week early, trained hard, and we were ready for the meet. But at the same time, our style is a little bit. We're skydiving in the tunnel.
Hmm.
I think you could have broken a 35 average, maybe even a 36 if you were like the high rollers, a tunnel team, or
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
airspeed, what's good about our performance? It's solid. We can bring that performance into the air, and I think if the French team was in full force with Tom, they would have been a lot closer to us. So they're strong.
So you're doing this on purpose. You are literally really training in the wind tunnel as if you were in free fall.
Well, yeah, we don't want to bleed too far away from free fall because the world meet is in free fall, and we're good enough right now to compete with the French kids in a tunnel. But if we were a tunnel team, we would have done things a little bit differently. But as of right now, everything we do in the tunnel, we feel like we can do in free fall within reason of the exit and the hill work.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, we did really well, and I can probably see where we missed 6, 7 points that could have given us a perfect meet, which would have given us a 35 average. But if I think there's even more points on the table if you're a tunnel team, and
Hmm.
for sure. But anyways, I think the story of the meet are the Chinese girls, right?
Absolutely. No, well, let's say the Chinese girls and Pamela Lisa Zhu, I mean, she stepped in
Yeah,
from the Nefties, and
yeah,
filled that slot as not I don't think Tom could do much better than she was doing on the outside. I mean, we want Tom back because he's a 19-year-old guy, Pamela is not really 19 any longer. So the kids, you cannot call the team the kids with Pamela in there who did extraordinary. So the Chinese team, yes, and also I think Pamela deserves a great
oh yeah, yeah.
credit for what she
I mean,
did.
it takes a certain kind of person like Pamela to step in last minute and be as competitive as they were. And I mean, they were a solid second, you know. They
Yeah,
were a little
amazing.
bit further behind from us, but they're also way ahead of the pack,
Yeah.
you know.
And the
So
and the pack was, so let's talk about this now, what you just mentioned. The pack was was led by the Chinese four-way women team. You know,
hey,
the
I
pack behind
had so the Chinese girls team were training in Xinxian, which is I think west or northwest from Hong Kong, which is about an hour and a half away from Macau, in an I-flight tunnel. And the Brazilians were there training, and I had a Brazilian send me some video of them because I was interested. I hadn't seen anything, and as soon as I saw the videos, I'm like, there. I mean, there's some skydives that I saw that I don't think Airspeed or anyone could have done any better on those jumps. And then I saw some of
well,
the other
they
training
tied you
jumps.
they tied you twice. So, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I
that's
mean, they're
usually
a
the
tunnel
French
team.
team.
The
No.
Chinese girls could not transfer that performance into free fall.
Well, now this is the next point. Are you a little bit, it's an outdoor team. So, you know, if they come to the Outdoor World Championship, will you be worried about, I mean, you're coaching XBG4 at the
No,
same time.
no, 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 no. Hey, I mean, I've seen a lot of this in the sport for all the years I've been coaching. Uh, some of it will transfer, absolutely, but XPG4 is going to beat them in free fall, hands down. Yeah, XPG4 is a skydiving team, you know.
Mm.
They're very much a following the interview you had with Dennis about them being a jumping team, not a tunnel team.
Mhm.
Now, when they had limited amount of resources, they're focusing on outdoors. Airspeed is an outdoor team. High Rollers was an indoor team, and so on. And even you can even see the distance between the French kids and us in the tunnel versus free fall. So they are going to have to become more of an outdoor team. And like we said in previous interviews, it's going to drift apart. The two disciplines are going to become very unique to themselves.
Mhm.
And I think it's going to come very shortly where tunnel teams are going to be outpacing skydiving teams, you know, alluding to even Airspeed's performance that I talked about. But I don't think some of the aspects of the Chinese girls are going to transfer. But I mean, exit and hill work and just the overall temperament and just how you skydive in a tunnel versus free fall is completely different. So you have to literally skydive in a tunnel for it to transfer more, but I don't think the Chinese style is going to transfer well at all. And I don't say that as a critique towards the Chinese ladies. I just talk about the two disciplines being very different. And I think they are drifting apart further and further. So
Yeah, will be interesting. I mean, it is a fact that you know that the Chinese for women team is not an indoor team only. Now I mean, we know that they have been competing, they have been training outdoors, so it's the same lineup, and you can expect them. The question is, you know, they were supposed to go to Norway last year for the World Cup, but they didn't show. For I don't know what the reason was, but um, I do not know, and I wonder if anybody knows if they are planning to go to North Carolina for the Outdoor World Championship. Who knows?
well, I mean, them winning the indoor World Cup based on their system, I'm sure they are more likely to get funding and to get what they need to be successful. But you know, I don't know how their system works. It's very different from ours.
Yeah.
Mikael has done some coaching over there,
Hmm.
and I know Solly has done some video reviews with the Chinese team, the men and the girls. So they might know better, but you know, like anything else, it's a whole different beast jumping out of an airplane. I think outdoor teams transferring to the tunnel is a lot more friendly than tunnel teams transferring to free fall.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's by far the harder transition.
Yeah.
So hey, some of the stuff is going to transfer absolutely, but it's gonna. I mean, unless you're a seasoned skydiving team, it's gonna be hard.
Interesting enough that some, you know, if we talk about the rest of the field a little bit too, but um, Papea is not really known as an indoor expert team, but they took you know, they won the amateur title. You know, they're placed behind the top teams behind Qatar, right? So
I was
is that
impressed with them. and they did really well. But they've been working very hard over the last few years. I know they haven't necessarily had Andy last year because Andy's now exclusively with Qatar. But Andy Grouse used to work with them a couple of years ago, in leading up to the 2022 World Meet in Arizona. He used to work with NFTO quite a bit, and he also worked with the Spaniards quite a bit. So I think a lot of their program has been strengthened by some of that coaching.
Yeah, but they're not really, if you look at the previous, they're not really known as a, as a top performer, top placer at indoor events. We know that they have been strong outdoor events, but the indoor it was surprising to me, at least. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they were fighting there with the Swedes for a while, but then there's almost like they're, a little bit further away from the Swedes. But yeah, it's very, very nice stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about the Swedes. So let's you know the Swedes better than the Spanish team, right? You have been working with them for
Yeah,
a while too. Well,
yeah,
this
I've
is
worked with the Swedes a little bit. I mean, it's the Swedes. Has Matthias left the team, and Martin, also an old teammate of mine from way back in the day. And they were training. They had a good meet. I think they always wanted to do better. They wanted to. They got a bronze in the European Championships, and they're happy with that. So.
I haven't even checked the European leaderboard yet, but so that
I mean, France won, and I think Spain took second, and then Sweden took third. So that's kind of nice.
yeah. Well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So, what else stood out for you? I mean, you were there live, so things that there are a lot of things that we could not really see from here. But
I mean, as a competitor, I think that they like the organization hosted a very nice competition. The training time was, they didn't offer quite enough training time for the volume of people that were there. So as we showed up a week early, we got all of our training done, the volume, before before everyone else showed up. Teams like NFTO, there was a nice battle between NFTO and XPG4, where XPG4 opened the door around 10 and then lost it on a jump off, which was sad. But it's I feel like as a competitor, the meet was very well organized. The scores came out before we went in, before the next round. We could review our own jumps, go into the live feed and rewind the video. It was very responsive, so we could see our own jump on the live feed and the commentary. So that was very nice. And then the scores usually came out before we went in and performed the next round. So that was also very nice. Accommodations, hotels, everything was very, very nice. So I have no feedback there. Watching the field, as far as in addition to the Chinese girls and Pamela and the French doing really well, it was the fight between NFTO and XPG4, which culminated in the NFTO taking second.
Yeah, how did this work actually? I remembered when I went to bed, and long after that, I saw that they were tied after round 10, and there was no jump off or anything. There was nothing was there.
It happened maybe an hour and a half later. Yeah.
So I thought, well, it is as it is. I guess the team with a higher score is winning, which was whatever, NFTO 39 or something. So I gave NFTO the second place behind the Chinese, but then there was a jump off.
Yeah, it happened. So they proceeded with the dynamic disciplines, and then when they were done with all of that, then the jump off happened, and it was exciting. It was not. I mean, it was a difficult jump to really do or die on. I mean, it was 2:17:11, I think it was, or something like that, or it was 2:11:17. My bad. And I think the U.S. girls were more steady in their performance, but NFTO kind of went for it a little bit more. And but I mean, the story wasn't in jump 11. The story was in I mean, 6 points on round 10 by the XPG4. I mean, you know, XPG4 were 3 points behind on pace, and then they had 3 busts. And it was like the worst Scott XPG4 had was around 10 of the whole meet. I mean, they had a big couple of brain loss, couple of busts, a couple of shutdowns in the middle of a jump, you know, which at that level, if you want to take a silver medal and do a 30 average, you can't have those kind of breakdowns, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and XPG4, I think you mentioned it earlier, that's an outdoor team too. They are not really indoor experts, right? While NFTO, I don't think they have done any outdoor competing or training even. I don't know.
yeah, I think NFTO grew through the meet. I think they have a disappointing first day or so, but and they grew through the meet and found their mojo, and eventually came and took second, which I respect that. Starting off maybe not as you want, and then working through the meet and then kind of finding that sweet spot. So NFTO deserves that for sure. But at the same time, NFTO showed up like the day before. They arrived late, had to do some tunnel time at 6 a.m., being jet lagged. And if you want to have a good competition, you know, attending is important, but attending with a couple of days of adjusting, I think is better. So I don't know if them having a not that great of a start has something to do with maybe their very tight scheduling and not giving themselves enough time to kind of get, you know, acclimatized. And the tunnel too had a weird thing which I forgot to talk about. The floor right inside the door was actually spring loaded. So can you imagine when you're entering and you're standing on the floor to push off the floor? That whole thing was connected to the net, so it was bouncing up and down. So this whole traditional exit where you kind of kick off. So when you kick off the floor, it bounced. It was almost like a trampoline effect on it. So you literally couldn't kick off as far as you wanted. So you literally have to step where people trying to kick off don't get high enough, and then they ended up riding. And NFTO and some other teams, the French, were dealing with some big troubles there, where they literally had to take another step on the net in the tunnel to stay up, or they kind of came in and then ended up being too low.
Yeah, and I saw that with the Chinese team. I was wondering if you go through their videos, they seem to wait a little longer for the first break. They first fly into the center of the chamber and then they start actually performing. So all the teams which are used to launch off and go into work right away, that didn't work from that. That's the explanation for that, probably.
Absolutely. And I mean, we had about 3 hours of flying, so we got used to it pretty quick, figuring it out, but it took a little bit. So Airspeed has been known in the past to take an extra step on the net. And then if you want to be very competitive on that first page, you can't do that. So we gotten away from it. But we had to kind of start doing old school because you tried to kick off, but all the energy just transferred into the floor, and you now didn't go as far or as high. So you're kind of got short leashed going all the way in. So we just picked up some old habits to survive, and that seemed to work for us. But some teams had a real issue with it.
So you took your step again, your extra step on the net? Or
Yeah.
how did you do?
I mean, when we needed it to. I mean, we had enough reps leading up to the meet where we could figure out the ones where we needed to take a step or the ones we don't. Usually when we go from our tunnel here at Sky Arizona to like a European tunnel, we actually have to take even less steps because the air is so much stronger or cleaner. But here, that was a very weird thing how the whole floor kind of was bouncing, was spring loaded. Yeah.
So back to the NFDO and
XPG4.
we will. I don't know if we will see them. NFDO had a completely different lineup last year at the outdoor World Cup. So we don't really know yet if they will also come on the last minute now to North Carolina for the World Championship. But going back to this lineup that we just saw there, I mean, you know, they have competed together indoor many times, and have a lot of flying time together. So they had this advantage. And then there was XPG4 with Jennifer in their first competition with this lineup. How did this? I mean, it sounds to me like you are very happy actually with the XPG4 performance there with a new lineup. How was it?
I mean, I'm a coach, right? But I'm not a full-time coach with them. They do a lot of their training on their own. I come in, I review some videos, and I make it very clear what I see for them. But ultimately, they make all their own decisions, and a lot of times, engineering decisions, they make decisions different from what I recommend. So they're a standalone team. They're their own team.
Okay.
I recommended, and so I can't speak for them, but I recommended them going there with the goal of doing the best they can. And doing the best they can is doing, like, yes, right now with our training, with only training 6 days with Jen, let's do the best we can. And Michelle moving from being point to inside center with Bren again, that's also another change. So we have new piece partners. It's a whole new team,
Yeah.
And I think I told them, I think the best thing you can do is go there and try to do better than what you've done in training. And except for round 10, I think the girls are pretty happy.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, go there with the mentality of growing as a team. Because whatever happens here, whether you win or lose, growing as a team, working through the hardship, becoming a team for the ultimate goal of winning the world meet in October, this competition has to be a growing stepping stone to fuse the team together, and wherever that lays on a spectrum with your performance, I think, like, always try to do the best, try to get to know each other and kind of figure each other out in that regard and bond as a sisterhood. That for me was I think an ultimate goal.
Are we
And
running out of time already? I cannot believe this. This is crazy. We didn't. I thought we talked just for 5 minutes, and I get the warning already. It's 10-minute
yeah, I'm
warning.
sorry, dude. That's what happens when we get the free Zoom and not the professional one.
And we're chatting away.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
No,
gonna
so
stop.
I think the girls wish they could have, won. But then what are you going to do when the Chinese team as strong as they were in the tunnel? So then they wanted to take second. And I think they're a little bit disappointed how it happened. Two things happened. XPG4 underperformed on the last two jumps based on the expectations. But at the same time, I think that with 6 days of training, I think they should be happy with everything round 1 through 9 and then round 11. Round 10 is the one that obviously, they had a few breakdowns. But NFTO also started finding their momentum, and they started doing a lot better. And I think NFTO kind of underperformed at the beginning of the meet, But that's to be expected. But it was a fun, exciting thing. It's always exciting for the whole community when there's a jump off,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, especially for the news.
Yeah. No one likes to be
Drama,
in their shoes,
drama.
but for all the
Yeah.
spectators, it's very exciting.
So a lot of question marks actually on the four-wheel women event, except for XPG4. We know they have Jennifer. We know the slots. We know they are going to the Outdoor World Championship. Question mark behind NFTO. Who is going? Are they going? Question mark behind China. Who is going? Are they going? So there are question marks, which makes it also kind of
Well, we
interesting,
know the French girls are going. They didn't go to
right?
Macau for the indoor meet, but we know they're going to the outdoor meet, and they're going to train a lot. And they have strong leadership with Pamela on the team. So I think, let's see.
Yeah, well, the biggest question mark is China, of course. Well, next topic quickly, with the 7 minutes, a little over 7 minutes. Last time we talked, it was not known to me officially and not officially known to many others that you will retire at the end of the year. I mean, from active training and competition. So this indoor meet was your last indoor competition for Arizona Airspeed, I guess, right?
Yeah, for both Mikael and I, we're leaving the team in the end of the year.
Yeah,
So the World Meet will be our last competition for Airspeed. I don't know what Mikael, his plans are. His plans are to coach and kind of start getting back into regular life. But I'm going to stay in the sport forever. and I would like to transition.
Welcome. Handshake, handshake, that is.
You know, like it's this is my 14th year on Airspeed, and it's kind of time for me to move on. And I feel like I'm very excited. The Airspeed's 30th anniversary, another world meet on U.S. soil. You know, it's like this team has done amazing. This is our 5th year together, going very strong to another outdoor world meet. You know, and for me, I don't want to. Mikael is done. I'm done, and it's just time to hand the reins over to Chris and Joey and see what they can do with it. You know, I kind of stayed longer on Airspeed maybe than what I would have if a team like this would have came a few years ago. Sometimes you don't leave when you want. Sometimes you leave when the project is ready. And I feel like we got Airspeed back on top, and this team has been a dream team for me. And all the signs are there for them to, for me, not to overstay my welcome. My job is done, and it's time to move things forward, you know.
And it's a good time, it's a good time to retire at the peak point and not when you're on your way down, you know. So that's the best time to retire, actually.
And I have a lot of energy. I don't want to rebuild Airspeed, but I do have a lot of energy to rebuild something. I want to get you know, a lot of more young people involved in four-way, and I would like to actually have a tunnel team like high rollers that can challenge Airspeed in the world in the indoor scene. But that little side project is something I want to do for myself to stay relevant and active and be very competitive. But that's only going to take a very small piece of my time. Everything else, I just want to try to get younger people involved, kind of like the young French team and the young French female team. To kind of just yeah, and so that's a big passion of mine. So I don't know where that's going to bring me, but I have some sort of intent I'm throwing out there. So
well, I'll pick you up on that. We have some, you know, we all have some plans, so we'll merge with some of that stuff, I'm sure. So the famous transition from indoor to outdoor competition is happening now. You know, the World Championship is a half a year away, a little less than that, I believe now. So what's coming up now? Any meets before that, or is it just training from here until the World Meet?
Airspeed is training for 10 days every month, May, June, July, August, maybe even a little bit more. So we have about 100 jumps a month. So we still have 500 jumps left to do. We have a little bit over 200 done this year. So it's going to be a strong year for us. And I think everyone on the team is very ready. We might go to the XP Classic or attend it from a distance. We're doing the U.S. Nationals in Chicago in September, and then we're going to the World Meet in October. So you might not hear a lot from us as far as team training for May, June, and July. I think the XP Classic is in July. I'm hoping to do that. Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
So nationals are before the World Meet too.
Yeah, it's about a month before. So we're just going to do four-way at the nationals, nothing else. Because, you know, we do training and we finish that training with nationals, and then we're going to have 2 weeks off, and then we're going to do another week of training and then the World Meet. So it's a very tight timeline there for us. And you always want to walk into a meet hungry and rested. You don't want to be, you know, tired.
I'm sure there were no tears in your eyes after the indoor World Cup. I guess there was not, you're not too passionate about indoor training and competition, but there could be possibly, you know, after the ceremony, after landing around 10 in North Carolina after the World Meet, I guess the ice could possibly become a little bit wetter than usual, I guess.
No, I'm not much of a crier.
Okay. But you have some emotions too, Niklas.
Yeah,
You don't
no.
appear to be,
Yeah.
you appear to be a man of steel and iron, but
Yeah.
more to that.
Definitely a man of gold. No, just kidding.
Well, I'll take a look at you after round 10, and I guess I will do that anyway.
Yeah. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just transitioning like every other Airspeed member into, you know, an active career after. So
You come back like the original Airspeed members at the World Championship last year or 22 or whatever, when they were all there, they were cheering for you. Or was it
Yeah,
last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year, wasn't it? After
yeah,
you.
yeah. It was in 22. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Hopefully they'll all be there. But yeah, it's a cool year. You know, the 30-year anniversary of Airspeed. It would be nice to win a world meet for the US and for Airspeed on the 30-year anniversary, adding to the legacy of this amazing project. And me being part of it for 14 years, almost half of its life, is an honor. So I'm happy.
And finishing it as a part of the sweep, which is absolutely possible, that we haven't seen a sweep in a while, the formation skydiving competition sweep. So you can almost guarantee that XP8, I mean, GK XP8 can almost guarantee it. So the question mark is in mean for women now. So keep cheering up the XPG4 if we want to have a sweep. Now if China is coming, and I would love to see that. Of course, we like competition.
Yeah, we all do. We all like to see a competitive field, you know. No one likes to see anyone walking away with anything. So it's going to be exciting.
Okay, so we have never abused Zoom like this because now we are basically seconds away from being thrown out. So, Niklas, thank you very much for your feedback and good luck for the rest of it. And next time, I guess we'll talk tomorrow or next week, maybe. No, we
Yeah.
get a little
Hey.
more break now. We'll see when it
Hey,
is.
thank you, everyone.
All right.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.